You know I got that drop, right? Like, don't play with me. The drop where they sing the one song about the person being a queen and stuff.
Instagram check, Podbean check.
Yo, where's my
YouTube?
Okay, yeah, YouTube is coming. We got
big screen over there.
No, we don't need the big screen. This is it.
She's your queen to be, a queen to be forever, a queen who'll do whatever His Highness desires. She's your queen to be, a vision of perfection, an object of affection to quench your royal fire, completely free from infection, to be used at your discretion, waiting only for your direction, your queen to be.
That's how I feel about my baby right now. Let's start the motherfucking show.
Thank you.
That's so fat. You can
As Metro's Mercury grade approaches, I shall create the illest podcaster known to mankind. But Master, what are you going to do? Howard Stern, Stephen A. Smith, Joe Rogan, Dave Chappelle. Why Dave Chappelle? Cause he's a funny motherfucker. Jay-Z. Because he has money. You fucking dickhead. Oh, I'm sorry, Master. I'm very sorry. The heart of India. The strength of a black man. And the pride of a Spaniard. I present to you MyT. It's alive. He's walking, Master. He's walking. MyT Sports.
Oh shit. Oh, here we go. Ah, good. No, I'm joking. Good afternoon, and welcome back to another edition, to the 326th edition of the MyT Sports Podcast. I am your host, the one and only Donald Thormont Taylor. You can see my sugar dumplings over there looking around in the background, yeah. If they never called you sweetness, and if they never called you nightness, how about sugar dumplings? And I guess they didn't call you nothing. Ooh, look at that. That ass passing the camera. We got a blackout. You know what I'm talking about? I don't know about moons over Miami, but I want them yams over my facey. I'm not a sweet potato pie kind of person, but I love me some yams, if you know what I'm saying, right? Oh man, this is another beautiful day. This is another Enfuego day in the hottest city in the world. We're talking about this is June 18th. One day before Juneteenth. Don't know how we're celebrating the holiday quite yet. May just have a little mini barbecue for my, you know what I mean, with the brother. I know tomorrow's gonna be Natalie's birthday. Yeah, folks, we got a birthday for the censor. We got all that coming up. I'm telling you, they said we're gonna have highs of 84, lows of like 72. Humidity is out the motherfucking wazoo. You understand? We got all kinds of scattered clouds. We probably I'm gonna tell you right now, for everybody in South Florida, I can guarantee you there's gonna be a 50% chance of rain today. You know that? I guarantee you, this is going to be a 50% chance of rain today. Look at those skies. Folks, but this is what we doing here in South Florida. But you know what I'm telling you, we got the podcast stacked for you. We got Philly getting trolled. We get BK getting freaked. Get the fuck out continues, right? We got Geoff talking about get off my dick. We got Hell in a Cell coming up, PPW's Hard Knocks, and we got NBA trades beginning already. And shit is already starting to smell a little fishy. Right? We got Blue Chew, we got our birthdays, we got all that and more. But you guys already know how this goes. Regardless of the time,
Take that, take that, take that.
and regardless of the weather,
You play to win the game. Hello?
it's always a good time to talk some sports. Stir this motherfucker up. So, that shit is thick today. Yo, I sound like a Super Saiyan trying to go. I sound like a Saiyan trying to go to Super Saiyan for the first time. Oh, that shit took 5 episodes. Oh, you understand? That's a month. That's a whole entire month and a half that you had to wait. Or was it on daily? Or was it on weekly back then? It was on weekly. You understand? That's a month and 1 week just to see somebody's hair turn yellow. But man, that shit was fire. So let's start talking. Bring Ric Flair into the building. Woo! Back at it like a sports fanatic. Weekend at Birdie's mode. MyT Sports. Man, y'all don't even understand how many cultural references is built into one vessel. That shit never been this great. You understand why I want shit is this? You know what, baby? That's why I love you. Like, she in the other room and she still tuned into the podcast, liking, sharing, commenting. You know what I mean? This is why I love you. But you know, in case I ain't say it right, can I get a little help from Buddy Love over here? Right. I love you. Every fiber in my body, and I know this. I know this now. I'm comfortable saying that shit. Comfortable admitting that shit. But you guys already know it's a way that we start these podcasts off, right? And before we get into the first topic of the day, we gotta start off with a little bit of celebration. Say, hey, yo, DJ MyT. Let me check that beat. Yeah. Early. Yeah, it's your birthday. Said it's your birthday. I got a bonus for you guys on this one. Cause you know what? I realized a lot of these birthdays will come with fundraisers. And I didn't mention somebody's fundraiser from the 16th. So somebody from the 16th is actually gonna get another birthday shout out today. Just so I can put your fundraiser also on blast. Natalie, Sensei, this is actually why you need to be a little bit heavier on Facebook. Because times like now, a month before your birthday, you could have been setting up a fundraiser for Cruz's legacy. I'm just saying. I'm not playing. Let's get into it. One more time. Yeah, it's your birthday. Said it's your birthday. Check it. Cause it's your birthday. Said happy birthday. Check it. Yeah. Check it. First birthday in the doc. As I said, we're going back to 60. I want to say happy birthday to Melissa Ryan. As I told you, Melissa Ryan is an individual that I met through the Segovias, right? Well, me and her daughter and I met through the Segovia parents. One day they were flying in town. They met a young lady flying by herself. Thought that was kind of ambitious. Said, you know, you were like my daughter and her friends. And as you know, we picked up at a hotel room. We introduced her to the whole squad. And now we've been friends ever since. And I'm going to tell you something that's also interesting about her. She's a big Halloween person. You know, I'm a big Halloween person. But she's a big Halloween person. But fuck all that, right? The reason why we had to bring her into the fold, right? And Melissa Ryan back into the fold is because if you go and check out her Facebook page, as we currently are speaking, she is running a fundraiser for Parkinson's. Yes, folks, all proceeds will go to Parkinson's. You know Parkinson's. If I'm not mistaken, that's the Michael J. Fox disease. Even though I've been seeing him acting on A Good Wife lately. or The Good Fight. One of those two I've been seeing him on. But for people that don't realize, let's bring it back sports related. That's the Muhammad Ali disease. You understand? So, I ain't gonna lie though, Jamie Foxx, not Jamie Foxx, Michael J. Fox. Like he hit that little lawyer role. He was like, listen, I got a little disease. So if you see me doing some of this and some of this and a little bit of this, it's all because of this and not because. I'm like, yo, you know what? That's a good way to put it into your role, and also let the people know that's watching that hey, you are just as an actor, and you're finding ways to bring this into your role, and you may have days where you have a little bit more involuntary movement than others. Let me continue with the birthdays, right? Also birthday shout out, right? So now let's get a little bit closer. Let's get a little bit closer, right? So yeah, it's your birthday. We said it's your birthday. I want to say happy birthday to Kim McCreechin, right? Kim McCreechin happened to be a former co-worker of mine. Me and her used to sell warranties together. Actually, I shouldn't say she sold warranties. She was working the front desk and the other half of the human resource department. Yeah, me and her and them spearheaded. And man, we went through some interview process back there. Yo, talking about young and in charge, some young hustlers trying to do their thumb thistle. But also you also catch Kim McCreechin. She also sells houses as well. So if you ever need a house, if you need to buy a house, you can catch her there too. What's going on? Nick Don's welcome to the podcast. Going on to be open right after our birthday shout-outs. And after the birthday shout-outs are done, if there's a birthday that you'd like to get out that would have happened between yesterday and today, let me know. We'll give them a birthday shout-out on the podcast. Yeah, check it. So that was yesterday. Kim McCreechin had a birthday. Right, but again, as all these people are doing nowadays, she also has a fundraiser that she is collecting for. And she is doing a fundraiser for children's cancer. Yes, folks, for children's cancer. So go ahead and go check out Kim's page. And if you would like to go ahead and donate to children's cancer, give her a birthday shout out and drop a donation for her as well. And then there's the birthdays today. For you to check it again. Yeah, it's your birthday. You said it's your birthday. It's coming down a little bit. Let's get these out. Today we got a birthday for Jamie Trepido. Jamie Trepido happens to be a drinking buddy that we've ran into all over the place. Now she is way bigger friends with better friends with a lot of my compadres. There she is, man. But listen, every time that we go out, we have fun. She's a good guy. She's a dancer. She likes to dance. She likes to have fun. And like almost everybody that I know, I'm gonna say a good 95% of the people that I know, we all like the sauce. You know, when the sauce is flowing, you know, when the head is in the system, yeah, you know, you wild out on the dance floor. You're wild for the night. Right? Also, we have happy birthday to Siobhan Kenyon. Siobhan Kenyon, I happen to know through the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. She happens to be one of the director assistants or something like that. By the way, through the Connecticut School of Broadcasting. She has now left the Connecticut School of Broadcasting and went on to much bigger and better things. Right? So she has a birthday that's out there. And then also, happy birthday to Steve O'Flaherty. Steve O'Flaherty happens to be an individual that I met while working with the Brooklyn Cafe. If I'm not mistaken, Steve-O has a wedding business, if I'm not mistaken, right? I know you do media as well. And I don't want to mess up Steve with the next point with Nick and Nick 2.0. I think I'm crossing those lines. Just a little bit. But Steve O'Flaherty, I believe he's the one with the wedding business, right? He also DJs, if I'm not mistaken. And the one interesting thing I remember about his wedding is that they had the selfie mirror. Right? It was like a selfie party mirror. And this is before anybody was doing that in the game. And that was always unique. And I still think they uniquely have that. But other people may have different variations. I think they uniquely still are one of the only people that do the selfie mirror down here in South Florida. It really is amazing. It really was amazing. I remember him coming out there. And I represented for the whole entire Brooklyn squad. Listen, that's something I remember about them. I remember about them too. He was the boys from Brooklyn on the Brooklyn Cafe. You know what I mean? And here I was working. You know what I mean? Brooklyn's fallen sun. The Brooklyn buzzsaw himself. The motor mouth of the South now. Check it. And Steve O'Flaherty. Steve-O. He's also doing a fundraiser as well. The fundraiser. See, these are all cancers, by the way. Don't you know right? We're not in cancer season. We're in Gemini season. My bad. I'm going to have to retract my statement and reserve what I was about to say. But hey, look like these Geminis are being very generous as well too. So, you see all the fundraisers coming. This is gonna be a summer of giving as things to get back to normal. So, to all of them, let's give them one last shot. Yeah, it's your birthday. You said it's your birthday. Kim, Jamie, Siobhan, Steve, Melissa. Because it's your birthday, you say happy birthday. Check it. Check it. And as you guys know, from here to MyT Sports Podcast, to all of you, want to wish you a happy birthday. Hope you party hard. Enjoy everything. Regret nothing. Let me get my weekend in Bernie style go to and continue to stay MyT. Check that. And DJ MyT cut that beat. Woo! I always like how we start the podcast with the birthday shout-outs. It really does help set that tone for the first 15 minutes of the podcast. It really does. You know what I mean? Get the juices flowing. You know what I mean? That shit be sounding provocative. You know what I mean? Be getting the people going. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have to say it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if nobody else knows what I mean, like, you guys, the MyT Sports listeners, you guys.
Nah, man!
Like, you do. You also understand that
the ceiling is the roof.
Yeah, that ain't part of Jordan's best work. Just like Game 6, Bucks versus Brooklyn. That wasn't Brooklyn's best stuff. Can we get it?
First
things first. Let's get to it, right? First topic of the day, folks. Brooklyn gets freaked, but not by Giannis. It wasn't by Giannis. It was by somebody else. And Brooklyn don't have a lot of excuses here. Harden played again. And Harden, he played looser. Unfortunately, even him playing looser just resulted in him being the loser. These are light bars for you. I'm not even trying yet. I'm getting warmed up. I ain't conceited tonight. Oh man. No, don't worry. Like, pretty soon I'm gonna get warmed up and I'm gonna get into a canyon of puns. Like, hey, welcome back to the podcast, Nick. I still see you out there. James Harden came out, he played looser, but it still resulted in his team being the loser here. For the majority of this game, the Milwaukee Bucks were up by double-digit points. And it wasn't because the Greek freak was there and the freak in the sheets and the freak on the court. No, it wasn't that. It wasn't because of none of that. Today, it was Chris Middleton out there standing center court talking about
Milwaukee, this is for you.
Like Chris Middleton was getting all freaky. You understand? He was the one looking like, yo, I got a middle worth a ton. You know what I'm saying? You can come get this work whenever you want.
Nah, man!
And that he did. You don't understand. We're talking about Chris Middleton getting freaky. But this is also what we call that good old-fashioned home cooking. Like, let's not get that twisted. This is that good old-fashioned home cooking where the stars, they play well everywhere for the most part, right? But your bench players, your number twos, your honorable mentions, right? Shout out to Drake. I so want that song on one of my playlists. Honorable mention. Didn't win, didn't lose. You get an honorable mention. There's nothing wrong with being number two. You get an honorable mention. Right? Like that's who Chris Middleton is. Like, he's like a Paul George-ish kind of guy. Right? Right on the cusp of being a star. At home, 54% field goal shooting. 50% three-point shooting. Right? Field goal percentage. On the road, 32% from field goal. 26% from... You understand? To go from 26% on the road to 50% at home, he damn near doubles his three-point production. Chris Middleton found his groove. And after every shot, he was out there talking about Stella! Looking like Paul Pierce in the video. Sheila, you should be here. Chris Middleton literally helped Milwaukee save face. Right? Like, you understand? And let me let you know how this was, because there's a reason why, even when we're watching this game is so compelling. Like, this game is so compelling. Because it's a double-digit lead for the most part of this game, for the majority of this game. But that's not before the Brooklyn Nets brought it down within 6 points, 6 or 5 points in every single quarter. In every single quarter. Even the fourth. I think that was the fourth. 77-82. Every single quarter. This was brought down to a 6 to 5 point lead. And every time this happened, money in the middle. 10. You understand? Chris Middleton. Yeah, but yo, Chris Middleton came through. What's going on to the podcast, Thames? Phone lines are officially open. You guys call him when you're ready. I'll be here looking out for you guys now. I'm gonna let the world know that the phone lines are open. So Chris Middleton goes off. Giannis Antetokounmpo has a Giannis Antetokounmpo kind of game. You know, in the playoffs, he doesn't look... how's the easy way to say this? Giannis Antetokounmpo looks less impressive to me in the playoffs than he does in the regular season. If that has anything to say, maybe like Ben Simmons, right? Is that he looks real impressive in the regular season, and then you get to the playoffs and you're like, I don't see what's so impressive about his game. I don't see what's so unstoppable about him. I don't see what's so two-time MVP about him. And again, Giannis isn't taking on the defensive responsibilities that are necessary for him to continue to win games. So let's be for real. Let's be honest. Let's be for real. Right? Milwaukee won this as a whole team. Right? Chris Middleton saved their ass. We're talking about every single time they brought this within 5 or 6 points. Chris Middleton had end up carrying the team on his back. He's the one that put up the points to push it to a double-digit lead every single time. He's the one that came up with key baskets, key assists, you know what I mean? Key rebounds, key steals. That was Chris Middleton, not Giannis Antetokounmpo.
MyT.
Thank you. Fast break points, 4 to 26. 4 fast break points for the Brooklyn Nets, 26 for the Milwaukee Bucks. If that happens again in Game 7, then Brooklyn's going home. Brooklyn is going to go home if they allow the Milwaukee Bucks to win the free throw battle. And I'm going to tell you why these two things is probably sticking out to me more than anything else, right? That's because a big portion of that, I believe, is a direct result to James Harden being on the court. Like, James Harden right now is on the court, and I know I said he looked better, he looked looser, but some of the things that are done necessarily to slow down a team's momentum, to add these extra points onto the thing, is James Harden getting free throws. Is James Harden being able to push the ball in transition. Is James Harden being a part of transition offense, whether he has the ball in his hand or not. Is James Harden, when he's shooting 1 for 10, being able to still put up 32 points because that's how many times he would have gone to the line. 25 points because of how much he would have went to the line. So the fact that James Harden is out there just playing three-point shooter and isn't playing contact basketball, isn't playing at the rim, isn't playing through people, is a problem. And we see it directly correlated to their fast break points and their free throws. If Milwaukee wins these two categories again in Game 7, Brooklyn is going home. Now, I don't want to see Brooklyn go home. But there has been a formula and there has been a pattern. Welcome to the podcast. The phone lines are open. There has been a pattern. And that pattern falls very easily on any time the Brooklyn Nets have scored under 100 points. They come with L's. So the goal here is like, yo, if we can hold the Brooklyn Nets to under 25 points per quarter, we can come out with a victory. If we can hustle on boards, take advantage of fast breaks, get our hands in the passing lanes because Brooklyn is turning the ball over at a disgusting rate. You understand? The reason why this fast break numbers are so different, 4 to 26, it's also because of how often Brooklyn is turning over the ball, making bad passes. James Harden as well. You understand? Passing it to Shamet, but Shamet is not at the spot that he thought he was, and then was flying out of bounds. You understand like failed alley oops, like just different like cross court passes. Like Brooklyn is turning the ball over way too much for them to be successful. And if they keep having these turnovers, these fast breaks, allowing these free throws, don't score over 100 points, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. And you know what happens when we wrap things up here, right? Like you don't want to be the team that I'm playing to fail the city for. Like you don't want to be that team. Also, the New Yorker in me would rather it be Milwaukee that goes home versus Brooklyn. Because honestly, at this point in time, the only rooting interest I have is probably going to be Brooklyn. Welcome to the podcast, folks. Remember, the phone lines are open. We're talking Brooklyn and Milwaukee right now. Now, when I tell you that like this game was just so back and forth, here goes Brooklyn making their run, right? Making another push to try to take this game from Milwaukee. They're trying to close out in Game 6. And you look up and the score is 82 to 77. And out of nowhere, 2 minutes later, less than 3 minutes later, you look up and it's 77 to 91. Milwaukee goes on a 9-0 streak. Goes on a 9-0 run, I should say. And Brooklyn never basically recovered from that last run. Milwaukee never looked back after that. Shortly after that, you saw Steve Nash out there waving the red flag, right? Waving the white flag. And Chris Middleton is out there channeling his inner Giannis talk about
Milwaukee, this is for you.
Scorching Brooklyn left and right. Scorching them. And the thing that I took away from that, right? It wasn't just, and not just from this game, right? But from all of it. The second round of these playoffs are a whole lot more interesting than I anticipated. And I'm talking about across the whole entire board, right? In the East, after those first two games, we really thought that this was going to be a wash. But that's what makes playoff basketball so interesting. Is that for 2 games, you can see a team get blown the fuck out. And then they get that home cooking. That good old mama's recipe. You understand that Campbell soup, that good shit. That coconut smile. You understand? Like that cushion, that yak, basically, is what I'm trying to tell you. Like, they get some of that. And everything turns around. They get that crowd behind them. Next thing you know, like they look like they've been drinking Red Bull. Everybody got wings. They're flying all over the place. And now we have a Game 7. But it's not just here. Philly and Atlanta. I don't know how many people thought that Atlanta beating New York was a fluke, but I think the way that they beat New York, everybody thought was fluky. And again, remember, phone lines are open. Welcome to the podcast. Listen, phone lines are always open, except for the birthday shout-outs. Except for during the birthday shout-outs. Like during the birthday shout-outs, I need you guys to shut the fuck up a little, so I can get all that shit out the way. Like, listen, it's just how we do here. The second round of these playoffs is way more intriguing to me than I even anticipated. Oh shit, look at that. We got our first caller. And of course the first caller will be Heart's call. What's going on? Let's see what my heart is doing right now. Because last time my heart called me, it put me in the hospital. Oh, it looked like we lost Heart's call. Well, phone lines are open. Call up again if you want to yap real quick. The second round is completely amazing to me, right? Didn't think Atlanta was for real. And this could be every ounce of hate and bone in my body as a Knicks fan. That I just overlooked it. I overlooked the Atlanta Hawks. And when they beat us, I was like, that's a Fugazi victory. Right? They gave that to Trae Young. And they're still giving it to Trae Young. Right? You understand? Like, Trae Young has the kind of game that they're about to make a rule change for. They're about to make a rule change just so that players like Trae Young, or Troll Young, as I like to call him, my precious, my precious, should have never gave that motherfucker a sock. Right? I think this whole entire game is Fugazi. And the NBA is going to change the rules for him. But they haven't changed the rules yet. And so far, he is helping give Philly the business. I'm telling you, I don't even like to hear him talk. He sounds like a light-skinned dude that's been offended his whole life. Like, man, nobody... we been had a chip on our shoulder. Everybody said, ain't nobody believed in us. You know, and this is what we do. We have for the team full of no stars, no all-stars. You know what I mean? And we just come out here and we grind. Like sound like Mike Tyson's illegitimate son that first he kicked around before he tried to get rid of you. Like, fuck out of here. Can't stand Trae Young for shit. He looks like fucking. He looks like Reggie Miller's rotten tooth. Like, I really can't stand this bitch. I can't stand him for shit. Like, I don't care. I'm sorry. I can't stand him. I can't. This is what happens here on the podcast. Like, it happens. But whatever Trae Young is doing, he has his team up 3-2 against Philly right now. Now, granted, we know Joel Embiid has a partially turned meniscus. We know that Joel Embiid can't get up for shit at the end of games. We've seen it now for 2 games straight. And I'm not gonna go a lot of in depth into it because I'm gonna save that for my get the fuck out segment. But the second round is intriguing, and I didn't think it was gonna be this close. We have what's going on with Utah and the Clippers still. Paul George, man. So the fact that all of these series are 3-2, 3-3. Tonight we have 2 possible elimination games. It's win or go home for one of these teams. Tonight. Like, I was expecting a couple of blowouts. I'm not gonna lie. Like, cause see, like, I'm a little bit more disrespectful with my picks. Like, I look at these, I'm like, 4-1, 4-2. I'll be expecting a 7-game series. I look at these, I'm like, they'll get swept. 4-1. Like, Trae Young, they ain't even gonna hold up with Philly. So before we get into the get the fuck out segment, let's go ahead and bring in our sponsor for the day. And if you guys already know, if you guys have been here for a while, then you already know what time it is. It's time for Blue Chew, folks. Wait, do I have the packet? Oh yeah, I have the packet now. It is on the rise, folks. Yes, we know we keep a Blue Chew promo code for you guys. Listen, if you don't know what Blue Chew is that little blue pill that will give you back that thrill. Just open up a pack before you head to the sack. Just a few chews before you do the do. with the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, this is one opportunity you can't miss. She's gonna love how you come through like a champ when you blue chew in advance. And if you use today's promo code BSIT, that says BSIT. Yes, B is in Bravo, S is in Sierra, I is in Indigo, T is in Tango. If you never learned how to spell, military phonetically, that's how we do that shit. BSIT. Because once you take this, she's gonna wanna sit on you. B, you understand? BSIT. And what she's gonna do is gonna give you $20 off your first order. And listen, little secret between you and me, the MyT Sports listeners. That's basically you getting your first order for free. All you gotta do is pay shipping and handling. Blue chew it, and then blow her back out. Or do it however you like, whatever line you like, whatever line you like. So that's blue chew, folks. Yes, and don't forget that promo code BSIT. That's how you let them know that you've been listening to the MyT Sports Podcast. Every day we have a new promo code. Let's let you know every day we have a new promo code. So if you next time you're ready for your next order, just come back and listen. I don't give you the secret. Just try with a new email address. I think it'll work. I think it'll work. I think you could do it like your Netflix subscription or like your WWE subscription. You know what I mean? Where you could just keep changing the email address and be like, hey yo, it's a new me. Hey, this ain't the same person it was before. Hey, I'm gonna change my name. I can't remember, to be honest with you. I can't remember the process that you had to go through. But you got the MyT Sports listeners. You guys are smart. You guys are smart. You also smart. You also smart. SMAT. Ow! SMART. If you guys know what I'm saying. Alright. So let's get into a little segment, right, that I have called Get the Fuck Out. Right? Right? It's something that we like to kick around, right? So, as we like to say here, MyT says get the fuck out. Throw your takes in the sky. Blah, 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 blah. So the first person that had to get the fuck out was the Claw. Kawhi Leonard, folks. It has been said that Kawhi Leonard has officially busted his fucking kneecaps up. We don't gotta give you the medical terminology. He fucked his kneecaps up. Now this is a guy that has been load managing for for the last 4 years of his career in fear of busting up his kneecaps. Right? Or busting up his legs and his knees. And still, the knees go out. It was a little jab, a little push, right? Kind of took it wobbly. Right? You want to stop short. And then you see him wobbling. You see him grimacing, and he never comes back into play. But Kawhi Leonard's injury, right? Now this is how get the fuck out works. Kawhi Leonard's injury, and because he had to get the fuck out of the game, that opened the door for playoff P sympathy and his redemption story. Because all playoff P did all he needed to do to get a pass until next year. You understand? Paul George did everything. He did all he needed to do to get a pass until next year. And what was that thing that he did? He won one game without Kawhi Leonard. He reverted into the Paul George that was leading that Indiana team. He reverted to that Paul George that Oklahoma City thought they were gonna get when they got him. He reverted to the Paul George that the Clippers thought that he was when they got him. And Paul George put on a show. He carried that team on his back and he did a little bit of everything. Boards, rebounds, points, assists, blocks, steals, turnovers. Contributed everywhere. And that's all he needed to contribute everywhere, and he won a game. And that's all he needed to do was win this one game. Because what ends up happening, right? The moment that Kawhi Leonard went out, nobody expected the Clippers to be a contender any longer. The way that this narrative now goes, hey, you expect shit. I don't know why I just drew a whole complete blank. You expect Utah. There you go. I mean, hold on, I'm trying to say Denver, but I know it wasn't Denver. You expect Utah, the best team in the league, that is, Utah. How was that Denver? That was Utah. You expect Utah, the best team in the league, to be able to beat the Clippers without Kawhi Leonard. At least close out this series. And it's not too late for that, right? What's going on? Welcome to the podcast. Somebody in their cancel culture. Because the fact that he now won this one game, and he kept the Clippers alive to be able to breathe, because now it's a 2-game elimination. They got to win one out of the next 2 games. They now put all the pressure on Utah, and Utah has to win these next 2 games. And Paul George won you one. And he got you to the point where, hey, if Utah comes and they beat you the next 2 games, you now have sympathy for him. He has now redeemed himself. He has done his part. He won you 1 game without Kawhi Leonard. Because you don't expect him to beat Utah without Kawhi Leonard. So the fact that he gave you the 1 game to force their hand, he now gets all that admiration back. All of that stink from last year is like, oh yeah, see, it was the bubble. He was too stressed. But remember, this game wasn't a game for all the marbles. Because what I ended up learning about Paul George was that, yeah, the bubble gave you stress. But also what I ended up realizing that these type of moments stress you out. Period. And maybe you're not cut for these moments alone. And I'll give you another example of somebody that when they revealed their hand, ironically, it should have made you question your whole entire career. Deron Williams. Deron Williams, when he was leaving Utah, right? And he already had played in Brooklyn. And I forget where there was talks about him going to. Maybe it was Cleveland, I think it was at the time. And right before he was getting ready to go to Cleveland, he was talking about how he really liked Cleveland, how he really likes, he really enjoyed going to Cleveland because he really didn't like playing in big markets like Brooklyn or some of that, or some of that line, like he said that stress was getting to him. And as soon as he said that, I was like, this now makes sense on why you struggled in Brooklyn so badly, because you don't deal with pressure situations well, and you don't like all that limelight, and why you couldn't be more successful in Utah. Because every time your team really needed you, when you really had to be called on, that little chemistry in your body that says you can't take Brooklyn, that you don't like these little pressure moments, you don't like that spotlight, it kicked in and it fucked your game up. That correlation was real. And then we saw him go to Cleveland and literally fall flat on his face. I was like, hey, how the fuck, if you can't make it in Brooklyn because of the light, how the hell are you gonna play in Cleveland? Where you're gonna be watched every single day beside LeBron James. Like, I don't know if this is the best place for you to go if you're trying to hide because you don't like pressure and media. So these guys say that you have to pay attention, you have to look. And Paul George basically kind of said the same thing last year. The stress of the pandemic and being in the bubble got to it. I'm like, this was basically basketball camp. Most people thrive. You got to basketball camp and you went down? Like, you needed that much more freedom, being able to get off post or base? Now, you understand? Like, these are people that if they was in the military, they commit suicide. These are the people that you always make sure that when they have their weapon, they're usually in front of everybody and never in back of anybody. Like, you don't ever want your back to that person. I don't know if I want my back to Paul George. I'm not saying these people aren't reliable. It's just to say that when it comes out when you really need them, these people fret. They break down. They're not the same. They're not consistent. They're not Derek Jeter. They're not Michael Jordan. So, Playoff P goes off for one game and earns the name Playoff P. And now, the sympathy can be given. And now his redemption story can be written in the offseason. Oh, he came through. Oh, they didn't have Kawhi. Oh, he did everything he could. Oh, by that third game, he was tired. The third game being Game 7. He was tired of having to be the man. He's not. Blah, 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 blah. I'm going to tell you this real. I'm going to tell you something that my uncle used to tell me. That if you want sympathy from me, go open up a dictionary and go look between shit and syphilis. That's it. Like, that's where you'll find sympathy. But you won't be getting any from me. If you want sympathy, go grab the dictionary and go look for and go look between shit and syphilis. But you ain't gonna get no sympathy from me. These are real lines growing up. Now let's get to the next person on our get the fuck out list. Like, also on get the fuck out, MyT says get the fuck out. Don't you takes it in the sky. Dallas Mavericks management is out the door. Donnie Nelson, president of operation. And he's Donnie Nelson, son of Don Nelson, one of the guys that I'm always trying to remember his name when I'm talking about individuals that the New York Knicks had running their organization, right? So the Donnie Nelson is out. And also their coach, Rick Carlisle, is out. This is twice now in a season, right, that we've heard of a head coach and their president of operations being gone within days. Almost at the same exact time. And the last one was just in Boston. But they promoted up. They took from within and they promoted up. I don't think this is going to be the case with Rick Carlisle. Now, what this get the fuck out does is open the door for Luka's exit. This opens the door now for more talk and more speculation. Like, hey, one of these guys was Luka's guys. He really communicated with him. This is really showing again of how they're out of touch. And I'm gonna say this one thing off. I'm gonna say one thing personally. I don't think Mark Cuban is out of touch with any of his star players or any of his players. I think if any of his players can and want to, they can go talk to Mark Cuban. So out of touch, I'm gonna have to disagree. I feel that maybe he knows something that we don't know. That maybe Giannis is not Giannis, but maybe Luka is trying to protect. Maybe Luka doesn't want to come off being the bad guy. He's like, hey, these guys ain't it. And Mark Cuban's like, you know what? Maybe you're right. Like, these guys have been here forever. They only got one championship. Like, and Dirk literally had to play out of his mind. Maybe this isn't it. Or maybe Luka really wants these guys and likes these guys, and Mark Cuban's like, nah, these guys have been here for too long and not being productive. I know what's best for my team. I'm going to get you winners because these guys aren't doing the best to help you win. Now, it's funny that I hear the name Rick Carlisle already, Rick Carlisle already popping up as a head coach for that possible Boston job. And we got some Boston news as well, too. But ultimately, all of this head change just opens the door for Luka's exit. Or more talks about Luka's exit. Or if Luka's happy with this move. Or how does Luka feel. Or Luka's attachment. Or a lot of stuff about Luka. And I'm telling any team out there right now, the poison pill is well worth it. For even Mark Cuban to pay for his 22-year-old star that you may try to steal from him. I'm just saying. I don't see Mark Cuban letting this one go easily without trying everything. So if Mark Cuban has decided to fire these two guys, then Mark Cuban is really trying something. He is trying to stir up that pot worse than we stir up the pot in the beginning of the podcast. Next on our list of get the fuck out is Coco Gauff. As she tells the World Tennis Association, get off my dick. And she pulls out of Wimbledon. After she pulled out recently of the French Open, she now goes ahead and pulls out of Wimbledon. Now, the French Open is one of the biggest majors of tennis. Wimbledon is the biggest major of tennis. And she very politely said, "No, thank you, sir. I'll sit my black ass at home. I don't like the way you treat black people. I don't like the way y'all treat Asian people. And I'm both, and I'll take my talents elsewhere." As I said, as funny as I say, yeah, she politely declined. I witnessed the other day, I should say, the most polite temper tantrum ever in my life. I'm so serious. I witnessed the most polite temper tantrum. So let me tell you what was happening. So it looked like a grandmother, a mother, and a daughter, or maybe a mother, her friend, and their baby girl, right, in a stroller. A baby girl, not their baby girl, but I don't know if it was 3 generations. I don't know if it was like, yo, mom and sis, it was like mom and sis, like it was. Okay, in comparison to the baby, I don't know if that was mom and grandmother. I don't know if that was mom and auntie. You know what I mean? I don't know if that was big sis and auntie. I don't know who the hell is calling me, but y'all gonna have to fall back. I ain't say call back. I said fall back. I'm busy right now. Y'all niggas disturbing me. So, all of a sudden, like, I'm hearing a weird noise. Like, it's a low whine. Like, and then I start to pay attention to what this inaudible noise is. And what it ends up being is, like I said, what I can only describe as the most polite temper tantrum ever. What I am hearing is a little kid saying, "No thank you, no 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 thank you, no." And what it was that they were getting ready to leave from their destination. And they were getting ready to take so they're leaving the destination, and obviously the kid is realizing, like, hey, we're walking back to the car. We're leaving where we were just coming from. They're about to take me out and put me in the car so we could go wherever we need to go. And I'm not ready to leave. I'm still having fun. And the kid wasn't having like one of these big ass throwing herself down there. The whole entire time she's like, "No thank you, no thank you, no thank you, no thank." As they taking her, put her to the car, like she ain't flailing her arms. She's just going in there all calmly, like they lift her up. "No thank you, no thank you." As they get ready to buckle her, she lifts up her arms. "No thank you, no thank you, no thank you." I'm like, yo, this has to be the most polite and cutest temper tantrum I have ever seen. And that's exactly how I raised my kid. Like, yo, if you're gonna do a temper tantrum, you better be saying no thank you. Else you gotta catch these hands, all of them. By the time I have kids, they would have had some kind of special surgery so I can grow like 2 more hands, and they're gonna catch all 4 of them. I'm gonna be looking like that motherfucker from Mortal Kombat. I already got the hair shit. Oh man, the things I do. All right, so let's get back into it. Right. So next in our Coco Golf, right? Next in our get the fuck out segment, right? Is Coco Golf. Like I said, Coco Golf pulls out of Wimbledon, and what this does, this opens the door for the World Tennis Organization to really have to take a look at their policy, because you threatened her in the French Open, and you threatened to fine her. And when you find her, and then you end up having to take it up, it's like, yo, you really just find me for me to try to keep my mental stability? She's like, you know what, fuck your tournament. And pulled out the face, like, well, you gonna threaten me that you kick me out the tournament? Fuck you, I won't show up. Who else co-signed on that shit? Because basically it looked like she kept receipts. It basically looks like she kept receipts. I was like, oh, which one of you fucking organizations want to threaten me for my mental illness? Wimbledon? Fuck you, you won't get me. French Open, fuck you, you won't get me. Australian Open, you want to say some shit too? You know, you won't get me either. Oh, who else out there? Miami Open, you ain't say anything? Okay, I'll come down to Miami and just let you know I'll do the courtside presser, but I'm not doing the presser where I have to sit in a room of 15 to 50 plus people while they all shove mics in front of my face and keep flashing pictures at me like I'm some kind of fucking zoo animal. If that's how she feels, that's how she feels. We've heard basketball players talking about not being not being part of the circus, but not a zoo animal. Who comes to she doesn't feel like she's a zoo animal. And then think of all the race relations and everything else that goes on in this world. Her being black and Asian and shit that she also has to deal with. She don't want to deal with you guys. So you can ask your backhanded question. You're going to write your article anyway. Go write that shit. You don't need her words. Any words that you need from her, you can get from the courtside interview. So whoever's holding that courtside interview, when you interview Coco Gauff, then you need to cherish that shit. Because it's the only interview you're getting. If there's a question that you want to get out, you get it out then. And everybody else takes notes. Because you don't need a sounder from her. You're going to build the story anyway. You would like to get a sounder. You would love to get a quote. It will help your newspaper, your paper, your article, your blog. You understand? It will help your mother and her club and her bridge club. If you got some actual words. But you don't need it. So here goes your best player pulling out of your number one tournament because you have antiquated rules that do not account for mental illness. And she gonna force you to change that shit. I mean, because everybody can't be Serena Williams, where every time that you guys answer questions, she's like, yeah, you know what, you guys ain't even on my, you guys are nowhere on my level. So I'll answer your little questions so that you can feel good about yourself. That's literally what Serena Williams said about them. She dissed the fuck out of them. Like, I don't even know I understand that they realize that. We're gonna see. We really gonna see how this plays out, because I understand some of the concerns. But nobody likes doing those kind of pressers. So how many people are gonna come out there and say, hey, I can't do this because of anxiety? And we know that people are gonna come up with fake angst. We know individuals that have fake anxiety. You know what I mean? With their doctor. We've known people that has faked their the paperwork for their COVID. We know people that has fake paperwork for their emotional support animal. We know all this. So who's to say that, hey, there's gonna be a day where somebody just has a bad loss and he's like, you know what, yeah, I don't want to talk to the press right now. But you know what? Okay, that's okay. That's okay now, because you're gonna build your own story. Well, you know what's gonna happen too? You no longer are the only access point. You are now not the only outlet. You're not the only way that we can hear from these people that we want to hear from. So you know what happens now? Coco Gauff won't give any interviews. So you know what I have done, and I'm pretty sure a bunch of other people have done? I've subscribed to, if I didn't subscribe to a page already, I have personally subscribed to a page. I have put her on alert. So now when she puts out something, when she goes live, when she's going to say something, I see now. Because I don't have to hear it from you. She don't have to say it to you. She can say it directly to us. Her fans, the peoples, the mighty listeners. It's easy. So we're going to see what kind of trickle-down effect this has. If they're going to change their policies, who will end up taking advantage of it, who may not end up taking advantage of it. We'll see how they change it, because I don't know how. It's almost like baseball and how they're fucking up, right? And I don't know how, if you're not promoting the biggest stars of your league, or the biggest stars of your league aren't present, especially in an individual sport, how do you expect it to keep it consistently afloat? Now, don't get it twisted with some of the fugazi comments that LeBron James made about injuries. That, oh, I'm sorry you guys ain't able to see your favorite player. You're just saying that, oh, I'm sorry you guys can't see me. You conceited bastard. Yo, I'm going to take an army break. I'll be back.
They didn't join this team to win championships or become famous. They joined because there is important work to be done, and only some able to do it. They are brighter, better educated, led, and equipped than any team in history. They are doctors, lawyers, engineers, technologists, and combat troops, all prepared for whatever comes their way. You'll find them where the lights don't flash, and the only contract they sign is with themselves and their country. One day, they may be asked what they did to make a difference in this world, and they can respond, "I became a soldier."
And we are back with the MyT Sports Podcast. I'm still your host, the one knowing Donald my Taylor. If you're still listening, I do appreciate any way that you may be listening to the podcast. If you're listening to the re-ear, I appreciate that. It's easy to catch the re-ear of the podcast. All you gotta do is tell your smart speaker, hey, play the latest episode of the MyT Sports Podcast, and it'll play it for you. If you would like to see the latest episode, same thing. Tell your smart speaker, hey, play the latest episode, or show me the latest episode of the, or play the latest episode of the MyT Sports Podcast, and just say on YouTube after that. And it'll go ahead and pull it up for you. Audio, it'll just pull up however you listen to your podcast at. If you're trying to join the podcast and kind of join the conversation, the way to do that is through the Podbean app. That's Podbean. Just look for the MyT Sports Podcast. You click on one of those little seats or the little phones, so you can call into the phone line, and that's where you can come join the podcast. And that's how all guests come join the MyT Sports Podcast. All listeners, Chill, Will, KJ, sometimes when he hasn't made it to the studio as of yet, Mark when he's at work, Natalie, everybody from around the way. And you guys have heard it. You get callers in from all over the world. Pakistan, North America, South America, you understand, Asia, or everywhere. All, you know what I mean? All of the stands. You understand? And even Chewbacca stand. I'm joking. So let's go ahead and talk about who else needs to get the fuck out. And that is baseball with the sticky shit on their balls. Folks, yes, I don't know if you guys have been keeping track of this, but for a couple of months now, right, since the beginning of the season, baseball has had one of its most... Whoa. To the get the fuck out? Wait, add women to the get the fuck out segment? Whoa. You must... Oh, this must be personal. This must be personal. Sorry, I don't mean to laugh. Like, I've never heard you talk like this. I'm not adding them. Right? Oh shit, that's funny. So, who needs to get the fuck out next is the sticky shit on baseball. And what baseball did is there's been a lot of things that's been happening with the balls as lately when it comes to baseball. A couple years ago, they changed the baseball and made them too easier to hit. So when they made them easier to hit, pitchers wanted to make them harder to hit. So pitchers started adding an additive to their sticky substance, to their resin, whatever resin sticky something they use. They started adding something to it, called Spider Claw, whatever the fuck it is, Spider Tack. And Spider Tack is basically a sticky substance that is used when you're used to being like, for people that work with cinder blocks and marble and shit like that. And we mean like giant things of marble and cinder block. That's to help you grip those. It's literally to help you grip a boulder. You know who should be using Spider Tack? People in those strongman competitions. Those motherfuckers that you be literally watching lift up boulders, but all you see them put is powder on their hand, that they should be using Spider Tack. But yet, even they don't need Spider Tack to be able to have enough traction to lift up a boulder. But yet suddenly, pitchers can't pitch without spider tack, without resin, without sunscreen, or something on the ball. Well, Major League Baseball has now put an end to that. They did a loose investigation, something similar to what they did in with the steroid era back in the day, to try to get a gauge of how many people were doing it. And once they found out, they're like, yeah, we got to put a stop to this. Now, what this opens up the door for with them is that your records, again, baseball has now had a scandal, basically league-wide, that makes you question every record for a specific time frame. Because you realize, folks, that we were on the verge of having the most no-hitters in a single season halfway through the season. How many games did we have? We had 82, yeah. Halfway through the season, they were going to have more no-hitters in one season than they've ever had in about 100 years. I think like 86. That's how crazy that spider tack is. And this lets you know that spider tack, you can't just put it on something regular. Like, you have to mix it into a compound and kind of dilute it. If you put it on a baseball, it will literally start eating through the skin of a baseball. Just to let you know, if you put it on a baseball raw, it will start eating through the skin of a baseball. So this is something that you have to concoct, that you have to add, that you have to sit there in a motherfucking lab. You know what I mean? As your little sister keeps breaking in, you know, and wants to talk about retarded shit. You're like, Didi, I am working over here. Damn it, Didi. Like, that's what they're doing with this stuff. Like, if you put like this. So Major League Baseball has officially put a ban on it. And what they put on this ban, and with this ban, they said, if we catch you using it, you'll be suspended for 10 days. Not 10 games, 10 days. Remember, these are pitchers we're talking about here. So in 10 days, you're talking about 2, maybe 3 starts. And that is the extent of the punishment. 10 days. And notice I didn't say without pay. No. This is a 10-day vacation. You get to sit at home for 10 days while paid for cheating. While your team suffers. But you can survive one go through without him. Now, granted, what happens is that you also can't replace that pitcher on the lineup. So if you normally come into that game with 4 pitchers, with 4 pitchers, now you have 3. Exactly. Now you have 3 that day. Like, that pitcher has to be on their scheduled days, and you're just gonna end up losing a pitcher for that day. So they force you that day to make some lineup adjustments, but the player hasn't been punished, and the organization hasn't really been punished. More than anything, whoever comes up with the lineups may have been inconvenienced for cheating. The game of baseball. Again. Like I said, there was a problem when baseball wasn't getting any hits. And there was a problem when it was getting too many hits. Baseball just needs to find a way to be consistent. Let's play the ball. Let's play the game. Put balls into play. Play good defense. Have things possibly happen. And then when you get a home run, the home run comes. Like, how they don't get this fixed? Because they keep saying, like, oh, they don't have any authority over the people that make the ball. That's Rollin, but they bought out the Rollin company. So basically, Rollin makes the balls how they want to make it. If baseball comes out like, hey, we need to find a way to get a little bit more pop on this ball. You know what I mean? Make it fly a little bit further when guys are hitting it. Guess what? Rollins is going to put a little bit more pop in there. If Major League Baseball comes like, hey, you know what? That's not working. we need you to adjust where some of these seams are so we could counter the weight on a little bit, so we can change it up. Maybe thicken this up a little bit here, make it a little bit unbalanced here, thicken the middle, skinny at the ends, No. They don't take any responsibility for any of that. This is just Rollins independently doing shit on their own without any input or direction from Major League Baseball. That thought can get the fuck out of here. Like, you could completely miss me with that shit. Nobody believes you. Now, next into our get the fuck out segment is Ben Simmons' whack ass jumper. You have to fully explain to me what is going on. I saw you, Kim. I see you commenting on my link. What you need to do is bring your butt down to the podcast because we're live over here, so that you can tell the people yourself on how they can find you whenever they're ready to sell a house. So I'm also saying that, hoping that you already pop into the room somewhere, like you created your Podbean account, and one of these new motherfuckers that I'm seeing with the generic Podbean name, you know what I'm talking about, the PBGEB14EFZEHYZ shit, you know what I mean? Like, if you happen to be one of those motherfuckers, I'm like, yo, you can come on right now and tell the people how the fuck they can find you to buy a home. I'm getting closer every day, B. But now I think I have to go to my brother out of GP. Like, it's just natural now. Like, he does it like now, so now I kind of have to go to him out of GP. Because also, I ain't gonna lie, like I want a part of that. I want a part of that profit that he makes from me. Shit, fuck that. I want a small piece, B. Man, I want my cut. I want in. You niggas got fat while we all starved to death. Ben Simmons and that whack ass jumper. That needs to get the fuck out of here. Because Ben Simmons' inability to hit a jump shot, inability to make free throws, inability to even attempt practicing his jumper in front of his teammates is opening the door for trade talks. But not just trade talks. It's also opening the door for a coaching change after 1 year. Ben Simmons is officially the player that gets you fired. He is just good enough to get you. Welcome to the podcast, Into the Fray. Phone lines are open. We're hitting up all those sports topics that you like talking about. You know what I mean? Talk to him. Ben Simmons, if he doesn't, and I'm not where everybody else is yet, but I can see what the thought is already. Like, Ben Simmons needs to get this done. Like, Ben Simmons no longer could be like, yo, I'm not practicing my jumper in front of teammates. Like, I need to go to a special room. If you're not comfortable shooting in front of your own teammate, who the fuck you gonna be comfortable shooting in front of? That's like, yo, if you're not gonna get naked in front of your girl, who the fuck you ever gonna get naked in front of? Like, stop it right now. Like, stop being silly. Like, that's literally what you do. You're being fucking silly. Like, Ben Simmons is being silly. I don't even know how else to explain it. So because Ben Simmons now goes 1 for 10 from the free throw line, they can invoke Hacker Ben. I had to take my sip here. And if he doesn't make it 1 for 10, I'm sorry. Like, I know a lot of us are sports fans, but I know also a lot of us played sports growing up. Even may still play sports with our friends here now and then. I can flat out tell you that when I'm playing, like, when I'm playing ball, like, at some point in time, we always go to the free throw line. As a warm-up, take about 10 free throws just to start off a random day. I'm not saying I'm the greatest free throw shooter in the world, but without a warm-up, I can guarantee you 40% free throw shooting on any given day. And that's in a low ball. You understand? Like, one. Ben Simmons, this summer, needs to show improvement. Now, and this is where I'm not where everybody else is. Everybody else is ready to get rid of Ben Simmons. Or they're ready to fire Doc Rivers. Excuse me. That's not gonna happen. Yet. Doc Rivers is too new there. He hasn't had a full training camp. He hasn't had an off season. He basically grabbed this talent and he gave them some philosophy. And let's run with that. He hasn't really gotten into them. He hasn't really started squeezing all of the juice out of them to make some Publix lemonade. We still looking at lemons here. And nobody likes lemons. How you doing, baby?
I have to go to the DMV.
To get this done? You couldn't do it online, they said? Okay. Just tell them, if they ask you how you got there, just make sure you tell them that you took an Uber.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. It's so funny because I remember when this happened to me. I think everybody in South Florida's had their license suspended. Like, if you haven't had your license suspended in South Florida, then you're not a Floridian.
Oh my God. Who said I wanted fucking everyone to know that?
Whoops. Hey, this is what happens. My bad.
Sorry, B.
You just added another fucking month onto your probation.
Well, since that's already there. I've been through that before, and I remember back in the day, like when I'm going to get that shit done, and they're like, "Hey, how did you get here?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, my people's are waiting for me outside." Like, no, like it's during the daytime. You're driving yourself all over the city, all over the town and shit, trying to get that shit done. Like just like yo, like you know, if I get pulled over, I'm just gonna tell them like, yo, I'm heading there right now to get this shit done.
Talking about sports right now.
Listen. If I'm already in the doghouse, like.
Oh, you might as well keep making it worse.
Like, but, yeah, like it's like playing on a bad on a bad leg. You know, it's like, hey, there's nothing more I can do to fuck this particular injury up anymore.
That's why your fucking team lost the boy. You said you felt like a what? A 7-year-old that wanted to cry. Priceless.
You see, y'all see that? Y'all see that? That's not even. Yo, they hearing you. KJ's crying. You got KJ crying on the podcast now. You see that? She's like, oh, yeah. He's like, I'm called for.
You started it.
I did.
No, you put my business out there, and I'm tired of it.
I'm sorry. I didn't. You know. I don't even mean to. I didn't like. I was just talking to you naturally. I kind of forgot I was even part of. Like,
I don't want people to know that I'm not. No, that's not fair. I want to be able to tell people what's going on in my life. You know, not you having it unauthorized.
But you can still tell people because nobody you knows. Nobody that only you know.
Matter.
Listen to the podcast. They're like, oh shit, I didn't know this.
But that's my personal business, and I want to disclose it with who I want to.
Roger.
And I don't want you to disclose it with everyone. This is broadcasted nationally. That's not fair to me.
Internationally.
And okay, same
Worldwide.
difference.
No. And now KJ's over here. You tell him, girl. Yo, I'm not even gonna tell you what KJ said earlier in the podcast. Whatever. I'm gonna let all this slide. He was hating on all women earlier in the podcast. Oh yeah, you heard
How
that.
so?
I don't know. Yeah. Like he was saying, I don't know. When I got to the get the fuck out segment, he was like, "Yo, put women on there." I'm like, "Whoa."
You see how he trying to run your name through the mud?
What?
Okay.
I am not trying to do any. He stands by what he said.
Yeah, that's good. Stand for something you gotta stand for what you believe in, or you fall for everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ah!
Oh my God. Now I don't feel like I have that sense of security just knowing that I'm gonna take care of this problem and no one's gonna know about it. Now everybody knows about my situation now. Now we're all dealing with it. I want to deal with it on my own. Thank you. Oh my God, I cannot get over it. I need to leave. I need to leave.
Yo, Kate is like, yo, kick his ass though.
I'm gonna wait until we get offline and then I'll kick his ass because I'm pretty sure this does not need to be recorded, so nothing can be used against me in the court of law.
She's like, these calls are being recorded for quality and trading purposes. I didn't do it intentionally.
It doesn't even matter. You know what? It's okay. We're gonna have a positive day, everyone, and we're going to change the world little by little, day at a time. Let's do it.
Yes. Let's do it. We're gonna change little by little. The same way that Ben Simmons needs to officially change.
This is all garbage. Stop telling that girl business on the fucking air, and then don't put me out when you get caught fucking up. Don't do that. That's me. Now you know what you're doing, T. You are showing to me that if I ever do a crime and you're involved in it, I can't have you involved because you gonna put me out there willingly or unwillingly or unknowingly.
Only if we're recording a podcast at the time.
Thank you for showing me your colors.
Listen, I'll admit, I'm deflecting
Don't
right
paint
now.
over it either.
I'm deflecting right now. But listen, you gotta worry about me
right now.
Big time.
You know you're deflecting right now. That's probably your biggest problem in that relationship. You ain't accepting accountability for your fuck ups.
What? This is where we going now?
Hey man, you the one told that girl business on the air and then threw me in there under the bus.
I was just repeating something that you already said on the podcast.
It didn't need to be repeated. Not at all.
So unfortunately, what kind of didn't appear is that, Ben Simmons needs to fix his. Ben Simmons needs to show improve this year on his jump shot. If Ben Simmons doesn't show improvement on his jump shot this year, he's gonna be gone at the end of next season.
After this season.
No, but see, it's gonna be tough after this, and I don't know if they get rid of him after this season because I think they want to be fair to Doc Rivers and to Ben Simmons still a little bit.
Fair to Ben Simmons. Please, when you've been in the league as long as he had and still have an unwillingness to shoot the ball, that means you're not working on it. You don't care. So why should I care? Get out of here. Put him in the get the fuck out segment.
Well, he is in the get the fuck out segment. Ben Simmons is in the get the fuck out segment for his weak ass jumper specifically.
He needs to stay there. He's becoming irrelevant.
But this is what his weak ass jumper opens the door for. Is that now there's trade talk for him, right? Is this a black podcast? It's a podcast. There's no such it's a sports podcast. The fuck you what?
That's some
Add
shit.
that person to the get the fuck out segment.
For real. Cummins is canceled culture. He about to be in the get the fuck out segment.
Real talk.
Yo, it's a sports podcast.
The black podcast.
It's a black podcast.
He's not.
Yo, what?
Tell him to call in.
Yo,
we need to hear his voice.
Yo, we have the best fans in the world. That's all I can say. Yo, we have some of the best and some of the realest fans in the world. We do. Like when they come out and they like, yo, I hear they've been talking the whole day.
The phone lines are open.
Phone lines are open.
Don't tell Talon your business. He might put that all over the air.
Yeah.
Actually, Cummins is a canceled coach. I hope you call in and tell us all your business. So Ben Simmons' weak ass jumper is opening the door for his trade talks. Because if he don't develop this jumper, as I said, I don't think they trade him this season. But if he goes through a whole nother season, and now you have an off season with Doc Rivers, and you have the opportunity to get better trainers in there, and if he don't show improve, right? If he don't show, look, he is calling it. If he don't show improve, that on that jumper, he's gonna be one of the biggest trade dominoes or trade chips for next year. But the other part of it is that as his name pops up for trade talk, Doc Rivers' name is gonna keep popping up as being a bad coach because Ben Simmons' inefficiencies is going to be blamed on bad coaching by Doc Rivers by not adjusting to the scenario when you know you have an individual like that on the podcast. Look at this. So we do have a professional troll in here. Now, this is a sports podcast. As you can see in the line, it says MyT Sports Podcast. Sports by Army vets for Army vets. See, like the only ignorant person in here right now happens to be you, Cummins. So you can keep all of your cancel culture to yourself. you can't get a rise out of me. I am too well self-assured and too strong in my self-awareness to fall for any kind of tomfoolery or hoodish or hoodlum like actions by dumb asses and people that are irrelevant like you. The only person in here that's ignorant is you. Thank you for showing your ass today. Because you have no clue what kind of lifestyle we have here. But apparently, you are the dumbest of fucks. So, yes, Cummins is cancel culture. You definitely belong in the get the fuck out segment. Because you really ain't welcome here. At all. But thank you for listening to the podcast. You can keep listening as much as you want to. And we'll ignore you. We'll ignore you the whole entire time, but we do appreciate you listening because apparently you like what we say. You like the flavor in your ear, and apparently you like this dick in your ear as well too. But it's okay. You can hear us Cummins all day long. Honolulu, Brooklyn Zoo. These are light bars from me to you. I do this for fun. They must not know. Like, listen, I've been a professional, and also I know Cummins. You would never be brave enough to say some dumb shit like that to my face. Just like how Serena Williams doesn't get fazed by reporters asking her questions because she knows they would never be as good as her. I don't get fazed by your silly comments because I know you can never be as good as me in anything you do in life. Period. Dot. T. 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 Or as we say on the podcast,
MyT.
We got a professional racist troller in our comments in case people are just wondering why I happen to have to take that little sidewind. But let's bring it back to the sports. Ben Simmons' jumper has to fix because it's not Doc Rivers' fault that Ben Simmons hasn't been shooting for 7 years. It's not Ben Simmons or 4 years, 5 years, however long he's been in the league. It's not Doc Rivers' fault that they gave this guy a max contract already. And he doesn't have all of the qualities as a max contract player. He's not the guy getting you wins. He's the guy that may help you get a win. You know who we talked about today that helped this team get a win? Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton helps his team get wins. He isn't the guy that they go to. He isn't the guy that gets wins. He isn't that Matt. So Ben Simmons is basically Chris Middleton, and why the hell is Ben Simmons getting all that money? See, that's what happens when you get.
This is for you.
Listen, it's Ben Simmons.
Oh wow.
Also, he'll get what?
Wow.
Oh yeah. I already addressed it. You didn't hear me address it?
Okay,
I already addressed
okay.
it. I already addressed it.
I was on. I'm at work, so sometimes I gotta put the volume down.
No. I fully addressed that. I addressed that with the Serena Williams line. I'll let you know just because I know how you make it. I'm too firm.
You know me.
I'm too firm and strong and confident in myself to lower myself to people like that. The only ignorant person that showed themselves today happens to be Cummins' as cancel culture. I treat this like I treat Serena Williams treats the press. I know that I am way too good to be affected by anything that you say. It's just more proof that I am.
Trust me. I learned from that one time that one fool came in here during the summer. Trust me, I learned. That's why I didn't say. Trust me, I saw that. That's why I didn't say anything immediately. That's why I just said, "Wow." I didn't expect you to stop and go all into it.
Oh no.
Continue.
Oh, okay.
Continue.
Now
we just leapfrogging right over that to the positivity.
Yeah. So
leaping right over that negativity.
But it wouldn't be surprising if Ben Simmons gets moved this year, because we already have moves coming up this season, and they've started early. And I wasn't so surprised that who got traded, I was surprised that a trade happened already.
Exactly.
That was more of the surprise. And we've seen a lot of moves happen early. Like we saw Dallas clean house already. We saw Boston clean house already. Doing more cleaning house. Yo, you know what? You know who needs to get the fuck out of here? Boston's leadership direction. They fired their coach, they changed their president, and they changed their veteran point guard now. Which now opens the door.
They fired their coach and then promoted him.
Yeah, they fired their coach and promoted him. And his first move is to get rid of the veteran point guard, the veteran voice on his team. And granted, we understand productivity-wise, but I'm just letting you know his role. That veteran point guard in Kemba Walker, which now opens the door for this to be fully Tatum's team. In action and in voice. There is no longer a leadership, there's no longer a veteran person there. There's no longer somebody that can be like, hey, you understand? The only person that you may hear him clashing heads with now is going to be Marcus Smart. Because Marcus Smart may be more of a vocal leader than he is right now. And that may be the only, like, Marcus Smart is basically the Draymond Green of that locker room kind of shit. You know what I mean? If you want to compare. Like, he's that vocal guy. We're going to see and hear him talk. We have no clue what we're going to hear from on how Jason Tatum leads. But when you got rid of, actually, I lied. When you got rid of, I don't know why I keep drawing a blank on his name, Kemba Walker. And you got rid of his leadership. You did trade that for the leadership of Al Horford. Mm-hmm. Which I don't get. Traded a first round pick for Al Horford.
Well, when Al Horford was there, they was going deep into the playoffs, conference finals.
That was 5 years ago, damn near. 3 years ago, it feels. Okay, maybe not 5. Feels like 5 years ago, more like 3 years ago, right?
Yeah, because the last season and a half has felt like 3 different seasons.
So, one, I'm surprised that that's probably the biggest part that surprised me. Like, you got rid of Kemba. We all understood that. But you got rid of Kemba to bring back Al Horford. I can still understand that straight up. When you add a first round pick to it, something don't add up here. Did you want Al Horford back that much? Because, answer me this. If any team out there was trading away, let's just be honest. If you're the New York, let's make it personal for us. If you're the New York Knicks, do you trade a player and your first round pick to go get Al Horford?
I'd kill the Knicks.
Exactly. And this is the Knicks we're talking about here. And they have tons of bullshit ass players they can throw their way to go get Al Horford. It's that first round pick that really fucks me up. Let's go Brooklyn. If they traded a player in the first round pick, like, you wouldn't scratch your head?
I'd kill them too.
So I'm really like, okay, so here we go again. So I'm running through the scenario and I'm like, the first red flag was how quickly this trade happened. This trade happened immediately. This is a very quick trade. Like this is the first trade of the off season. You understand? They're the first ones to blink. They're the first ones to send their troops into battle. They're the first charge. They're the first ones going. And it just something don't add right, because I don't like, you know what? These are one of those things that I feel like they were butting heads with Danny Ainge. And I'm thinking about this some of this I'm thinking about on the fly as I'm talking to you with it. I haven't had a chance to think this out any. But these are some of the things that makes me go back to, hey, when you heard that they got rid of Danny Ainge, right, as the president. Now it's going to make me think like, okay, what were some of the things that made you get rid of Danny Ainge to put in your head coach there? What were they butting heads on? Were they butting heads on trying to bring back Al Horford? Were they butting heads on thinking about his value? Kemba Walker's value, and I understand Kemba Walker has diminishing value, but so does Al Horford to me. And Al Horford and Al Horford has been great throughout his career, and Al Horford probably benefits more now than he ever has because it's a smaller NBA. Because he's always been a small guy playing bigger than what he was. He was 6'9" on the Atlanta team playing center, right? All them years, if I'm not mistaken. It was him playing center. You had the Josh guy. You had ISO Joe. He was out there playing center. So he's always knew how to play under man. So and that's also to show you how long he's been in the league. Like, this is a vet. This is a double-digit year vet, 12-year vet, easy. Tons of playoff experience underneath his belt. So tons of mileage. And you give up a first round. I'm going to tell you this right now. There's not a lot of players that I would give up a first round pick and players for. And when they do, and when the team does this, I need to guarantee wins. You need to be guaranteeing me a Chris Paul if I'm giving up a pick and players and future picks. Like, I need somebody that is definitively going to make a change. If I'm giving up a player like Kemba Walker and a draft pick, and it better not be Al Horford, because I feel like I could have gotten Al Horford. I could have gotten Al Horford for Kemba Walker straight up. So something also tells me that Kemba Walker may not be staying in Oklahoma City either. That the reason why they needed the draft pick, or the 2 draft picks, is because they're probably going to release Kemba Walker. What we thought, or how we thought, remember the phone lines are open, everybody, I'd like to join the podcast. How we thought that Oklahoma City was going to treat CP3, I fully believe is going to, or I should say how CP3 is going to treat Oklahoma City. I guess it's going to be the opposite. But this is how I fully believe that Oklahoma City is going to treat Kemba Walker. He won't be there. They have some young guys they'll rather give this opportunity to at the point guard position, at the shooting guard position, at the primary ball handling positions. They have younger guys they'll rather Kemba Walker's was about to be bought out. That's the only. I'm still trying to run through scenarios. And think of all of the possible reasons of why you added all of these extra picks. And it could be like, yo, we're gonna. Like, I'm trying to think of how this comes. Hey, we want Al Horford. We'll give you Kemba Walker. We don't want Kemba Walker. Like, if you give us Kemba Walker, we're gonna just end up cutting him. You gotta give us another pick with it. My first round pick? Yeah, give me your first round pick. Listen, we're a playoff team, so it's going to be a late pick anyway. And they're going to swap, and I think they got back like a second round pick from Oklahoma City, which is almost like getting a late first round pick if you're Boston, if you think Oklahoma City is going to be a trash team. But still something smells fishy. So when it comes to this particular trade, keep looking for the other dominoes to fall. This is the one that the dominoes haven't stopped falling. And if you're from the island and you play and you guys play like I do, you understand these dominoes, these types. What's going on, Captain? Welcome to the podcast. The Halloween joint. Well, the phone lines are open. Right now we're talking about Boston's recent trade to get rid of Kemba Walker and bring back in Al Horford. And then Al Horford, like, how much difference on winning is Al Horford gonna do? Is Al Horford going to start? Is Al Horford going to come off the bench? We understand this is going to be different. This is going to be a different vet. Maybe you understand somebody they still kind of trust and will listen to. But you don't even have your head coach yet, so you can't even say like, oh, he's going to help be an extension of the head coach. Who the fuck is the head coach? Wow. My girlfriend over here looking all sexy and shit. Traffic blocking. Y'all are going through like now Tyson stocking. Watch it now, hairstyle. Serious thing. Yeah. When the traffic block again. Big ass piece of caramel. Trying to get you stuck to the roof of my mouth. Oh shit! This is why she can't be here while I'm doing the podcast. I get distracted my goddamn self. Alrighty. That is about it for the get the fuck out segment. But ultimately, what that does though, for Boston and Jason Tatum, they basically hit him with that Tupac line. Like, you got the juice now. This is all you. This is your team now. Like, more than ever, this is your team. Like, even Al Horford, when he returns, he's here to support you. Like, everybody here now is in support of you. And it's going to start being time for Jason Tatum's fire to start being held, or feet to be held to the fire. He's going to start being held accountable now for these Boston wins. You no longer going to be blaming the head coach. The head coach is gone. It's a new head coach. This is going to be now, how does your best player now get along with your new head coach, who Rick Carlisle is already in the run-ins for. And I'm just thinking to myself, what the fuck has Rick Carlisle done except win one ring with Dirk? I mean, what? He stood with Dallas through all of their changes. He played the good soldier. You understand? He didn't ruffle any feathers. He mirrored the motto and the creed of the path of the organization. Like, but other than that, what did Rick Carlisle do to be able to get Boston? Boston! Nah, you got to give me some other names. You have to give me some other names. You have to give me like some Jason Kim's, some Vaughns. You have to give me some other names for real. Listen, I don't care if you throw me D'Antoni just to throw me off the step. You got to give me some other names. Because like, when I hear a series of names and I'm like, okay, you guys are doing a coaching search. You guys are looking for somebody. When I just hear one name pop out of nowhere, I don't know. But especially Rick Carlisle. Like, what have you done for me lately? Like, I'm sorry. Go get Sam Cassell. Go get Sam Cassell. Go get Big Perk on that staff. And a couple of other Boston legends. Go build up your training staff. And maybe even possibly do what the Knicks have done recently. Go get an agent in there somewhere. Right? Go get a former agent on your staff somewhere to help you with player relations. The Lakers did it with Rob Lowe. The Knicks have done it with Rose. And it seems to have worked in both aspects. So tonight, we have 2 elimination games. First elimination game is going to be between the Philadelphia 76ers and the Atlanta Hawks. Atlanta Hawks are up in this series 3-2. We just went through a big push of the reason why Atlanta is up. And that is before the fact that Ben Simmons can't shoot. And the league knows it, Atlanta knows it, and Atlanta is using it as a weapon. They have weaponized Ben Simmons' poor free throw shooting. Poor shooting, period. They've gone to the whack-off Ben mode, right? Or the whacker Ben. Because he's not the first Ben. Ben Wallace used to get the same treatment too. But Ben Wallace was a lot more productive. He was actually Defensive Player of the Year. Not just named the defensive first team and not be able, 2 of you, y'all can't come up with defensive stops when you're up by 17. You can't carry your team when you're up by 17 to keep this victory, to keep your team alive, to close out, to go up 3-2, to get a dub.
Peace.
You starting to pick up on my bad habit with that shit.
I am not picking up on those bad habits. I rebuke that in the name of the universe and all of this.
You are super greasy. Now, the other reason why Philadelphia is struggling is also because of the partially torn meniscus.
I need a charger.
It's because of the partially torn
The left.
meniscus of Ben Simmons. Not Ben Simmons, but Joel Embiid. And the Joel Embiid torn meniscus, it's something that's actually affected him as the game goes on. He starts off the game, he's the last couple of games, he starts off pretty well. He's giving you 40 in a loss, 37 in a loss. He's doing his part. 12 for 20 shooting, 37 points, 11 for 13 from the free throw line, with a bad knee. 13 assists. But what happens to Joel Embiid is that he doesn't have any lift left at the end of the game. And sorry, I was listening to what was going on. I got distracted. I was listening to a conversation downstairs. My bad. It's the end of the game scenarios that really matter for when it comes to Joel Embiid. He starts off the game well. He gets to a spot still. Like, you really have to pay attention to Joel Embiid and understand from the fact that he is not using any athleticism to do what he's doing right now. He is literally playing like the Joker. And he's used to playing with a little bit more athleticism than what he's playing with right now. But what's really happened is that at the end of the games, those same baskets, those same buckets are coming up short in the games. Now, this could be stress, this could be pressure, or this could be that injury, that leg just giving out. Because we've seen him miss point-blank layups at the end. Well, he's going to get a pass this year, and we're gonna see, because we quickly forget how he's looked in how he looked in Toronto, how many games that they could have won in Toronto because his shots were short, his shots rimmed in and out, that they weren't able to win. But if they do lose this series, it's not going to be because we're not going to blame Ben Simmons. I've already told you. See, Ben Simmons already got his pass. Not Ben Simmons. Joel Embiid already got his pass. That's his torn meniscus. He got his pass. Right now, the blame has already shifted. It's between Doc Rivers and Ben Simmons. Is Doc Rivers not coaching up his team right at the end of the game to make them lose a 17-point lead? For them to get blown out 40-19 in the fourth quarter? 21-point turnaround to lose by 3? Like, that's what we're gonna start talking about Doc. They're gonna talk about this against Doc, about this fall. They're gonna go back and they're gonna look at and they're gonna talk about the fall that happened when he was with the Clippers. They're gonna go back and they're gonna talk about the time that he felt like this against LeBron James. You know what I mean? When they were they're gonna consistently keep looking back at Doc Rivers' career, and Doc Rivers gonna keep getting a shorter and shorter leash because Doc Rivers is only judged now off of championships. And the only way that you win when you're being judged by championships is to win a championship. Because then everything else that you lose for gets over-scrutinized. It's over-clouded. Like, look at how he lost this series. Look at how he lost this series. Look at how he lost this series. And then you're gonna try to pull, and then you pull together some similarities. And now he has a pattern of not being able to get the job done in this particular scenario, and his coaching job is going to get shorter and shorter and shorter. It may be just about time for Doc Rivers to move into a higher management position because they're setting him up for a fall. They are setting him up for a hell of a fall. Now, let's make some predictions here. Game 6. Atlanta versus Philly. Ironically, now unfortunately, this now is going to be in Atlanta. And I'm telling you, I don't feel very comfortable saying Philly is going to win. I need Tobias Harris to come out and act like he is mad about his 2K rating again. I need Ben Simmons. He can't go 4 for 14 from the free throw line. He can't only take 4 shots. Look, I'm sorry, B. Like, I'm sorry. Because 14 free throws only told me that was 7 or more additional shots that weren't counted. So you were still 2 for 11. Which is what Tobias Harris was. Everybody struggled. Dwight Howard came into the game and he was completely distracted. Just picked up fouls early, yapping with the crowd. Seth Curry put on a performance like his brother. He was the one shining like hope of like ray of sunshine. But he couldn't maintain it. That's not what he does. And he played 38 minutes as your starting shooting guard. But they needed more. They needed Ben Simmons to shoot 50% from the free throw line as a professional basketball player. That's all they needed. 50%. Half, my nigga, half. And I really don't feel comfortable saying that Philly is going to win this game because Atlanta is a scrappy team. Atlanta's going back home. Atlanta's going to be pumped up off of Mountain Dew and Red Bull. Like, you understand? Like, the phone lines are open. Atlanta is not going to make this easy for Philly. If Philly wins this series, I'm gonna let you know right now, based off how how it's currently positioned. If Philly wins this series, I'll be shocked because it's going to mean that somebody stepped up in a way that is going to surprise me. I don't know if it's going to be Ben Simmons. I don't know if Joel Embiid is going to end up putting up a 50-point triple-double back-to-back games just to get this dub. Like, I don't know. But if Philly wins this series, something special is going to happen. And I'm going to be there watching all of it. Even though I'm at this point where I hate watching Atlanta play. It don't matter if you're the Atlanta Braves, you're the Atlanta Hawks, or you're the Atlanta Falcons. I hate watching Atlanta play. You better be lucky that I'm into women's basketball enough to, and I don't hate any women's basketball team. Or else I'll hate the Atlanta Dream as well. But Atlanta's going to come away with a victory here. And Trae Young is going to be that little cocky little fucking sock receiving troll that we know he is. My precious, my team, we underdogs and we fought, my precious. Should have never gave him a sock. The fuck were you thinking? Huh, Harry Potter? What were you thinking about giving him a sock? Fucking troll. Can't stand a little fucking troll. Fucking troll. Can't stand a little bitch ass fucking troll. But so we gonna learn about Philly today. But I have a feeling that we're probably gonna learn a little bit more about Atlanta. And put a little bit more. Listen, if Atlanta makes it to the Eastern Conference Championship, what, 3 years finally in under Trae Young? Like, you gonna have to. You will, not me. Let me make this clear. You're gonna have to start putting some respect on his name. Not me, but you will. I know that his game is fugazi. I know that once the NBA implements this change, that he will no longer be a productive player in the NBA. I know that he's only successful because his whole game is a gimmick. But you'll respect him if he makes it to the Eastern Conference Championship. You guys are going to have to respect him. I don't. Don't stop laughing at me, KJ. But he's gonna have to get some love. He will, because it's going.
Shut your petty ass up. Shut your petty ass up. Shut your petty ass up. You talking about it way longer than it even needs to be talked about anyway. Shut your petty ass up. You're giving him attention for no damn reason. Shut up.
This is my way of giving him the respect he deserves. Okay. Like, you know, this is me being passive aggressive in a way. Like, this is me giving him the respect he deserves in a sense. It's by actually talking about him with sports anger. Oh shit, Nelly, you missed the whole conversation earlier about you. We had a big, long 45-minute conversation about you earlier. You missed the whole thing. Oh, and now she finally made it to the podcast. What up, Nat? We got about like 5 minutes left of the podcast. What's going on? So, the Hawks are in a position right now to eliminate the Philadelphia 76ers. Also in an elimination game. Tonight. Achoo! Woo! Shit. Excuse me. Also an elimination game tonight are the LA Clippers over the Utah Jazz. And I've already told you, the LA Clippers have already done enough. Paul George has already done enough for you to get his sympathy. Notice I said you. For you to give him his sympathy. And for you guys to write this little redemption story about him. Because he did all he needed to do was give you one game. Because nobody expects the Clippers to win this series without Kawhi Leonard, even if they are up 3-2 against the best team in the league. Nobody expects them. But Paul George put them in the position where all they needed was one victory. He's okay. All this pressure right now is on Utah. Like, there's no pressure on the Clippers to win anything. There's no Clipper, like the Clippers don't even have to win another game. There's no pressure on them. We're going to have to see the Joker show up. We're going to need an MVP performance from him. He's going to have to close this out.
Natalie, love you, Nat. Love you, Nat. Happy birthday. I don't know if you still here.
No, your birthday shout out comes out Monday. Well, you kind of both. Like you got an honorable.
Tomorrow's her birthday.
Tomorrow's her birthday. Yeah. Like today you got the Drake
Tomorrow's
treatment. You got the.
And it's Friday.
Yeah. You got the Drake. You got the Drake at the Emmys. Not the Emmys. What's the sports award? Damn it. What's the sports award show called? Fuck.
Emmys. I mean the ESPYs.
ESPYs. There we go. You got Drake at the ESPYs. You got the honorable mention. Not number one, but number two. You got an honorable mention.
The disrespect.
Because on Monday she gets the birthday shout out. She got an honorable mention today.
But her birthday's tomorrow. Monday is 2 days removed from her birthday.
I don't look, everybody, nobody gets a birthday shout out before their birthday. It comes after their birthday. But that's why Natalie got
anyway, go ahead and keep talking about Atlanta's irrelevant ass.
I moved on from Atlanta. You're still stuck in Atlanta. Who the hell is calling that?
Remember, I'm working, brother. I'm working and being on the show. Bear with me.
But I'm past Atlanta. Now we're on to Utah and the pressure that Utah has right now to win these next 2 games. Paul George has done everything he needs to do. Basically, he got what he's wanted from everybody. And that's sympathy. He got sympathy from everybody for coming up big in one game. But you guys already know how I feel. If you want sympathy from me, Just open up a dictionary and look between shit and syphilis. That's the only way you're going to get sympathy from me. But it's okay. The Clippers can choke tonight. The Clippers don't have to win another game. They don't have Kawhi Leonard. Nobody thinks of Paul George that dude anymore. Paul George put them in position to only need one game. If they fail, he gets the pass. The whole team gets the pass. They get to move on. Utah needs to win this game. The Joker needs to force a Game 7. And I have a feeling that they'll be able to take care of business. I have more faith in Utah beating the Clippers than I have Philly beating Atlanta. 2 more games. Wait. Utah. Wait. Nothing. Wait. You know what I'm thinking about? Donovan Mitchell. And see, this is me getting Denver and Utah. This is me getting Utah and Denver confused again. Yeah. This. Oh no. Yeah. This. So let's go ahead and flip this. Right. This is gonna be Donovan. Like just like how this is Trae Young's coming up party. Utah, you're the best team in the league. Right? Yes. Utah, you're the best team in the league. You need to show it. They don't have their best player in LA. This is the Spiders' time. Because Donovan and Spider Mitchell, just like how we just said about Trae Young, can make it to the Western Conference Championship this early into his career and fight to make it to a championship. Man, oh man. You guys don't get it. Like, we already had Donovan Mitchell in my top 5 under 25. If Trae Young makes it to the Eastern Conference Championship and they beat Philly, I will put him in. I can't even put him in my top 5 under 25. Because I'm not taking out Donovan Mitchell. Fuck that. I had Luka, John Morant, LaMelo Ball, Devin Book, and Donovan Mitchell. Okay, so Trae Young makes it to the Eastern Conference Championship. I'll put him above Anthony Edwards in my top players under 25 years old. That's how much respect. See, I'll give him his respect. We got less than a minute left into the podcast. I want to thank everybody that has joined the podcast that came out today. Don't forget, your Blue Chew promo code for today is B as in Bravo, S as in Sierra, I as in Indigo, and T as in Tango. Hope you guys enjoy your Freaky Friday. Enjoy your weekend. Juneteenth is tomorrow. I hope everybody is celebrating and barbecuing. For the cancel culture person that joined my podcast earlier, here goes again, you little moment shame. Fuck you, buddy. Go suck a big black cock, because apparently that's what you like. And we'll end the podcast right there.
Sorry, B. I tried. Honest. All the bandwidth in the world couldn't keep me contained. No lag, no lag. Gonna share my talents with Podbean Live. Always knew I'd take the pod there. Just a lot later than a lot of listeners thought. Last of the real gabbers. Well, maybe not the last. Munchkin got good mic skills. New, improved MyT Podcaster. Potted down now. Last call for drinks. Bars closing. Sun's out. Heard the casino got a buffet breakfast. Don't want to go far. Wild night. Tired, B. Tired. MyT